So, I'm just gonna say this. Thank you all so much for 40 subscribers. I remember the 1 year ago, I had 24. Look how much we've gone since last year. I just got home from school. It's been a semi-good day. When I say semi-good, there's a reason for that. But today, I'm gonna make a stuffed animal video. But not any animal video. I was thinking of making a video about some of the most deadliest times of my life. But I'm like, some people do that normally, like now, me just talking. And some people do it in an animation. And I like that idea. But I'm like, I'm not gonna do it in an animation. For one, I definitely don't have the equipment. Look, I don't even have a capture card. But I was thinking I should do that in stuffed animal form. So that's what we're gonna do. Give us a second. This is my mom's room. I'm on my bed. Let's move this. I don't know what that is. But I'm gonna portray the most dangerous times in my life with stuffed animals. Now this one, I don't think you've seen this one yet. I don't know. But this one is only 6 hours younger than me. So this thing is 12 years old, but and 6 hours younger than me. I got this 6 hours after I was born, and I love this one. His name is Giraffe, or something like that. So he's gonna be the main one, consuming this one is gonna be me. The pillow. I'm gonna sleep after this because every day I sleep after school. So I'm gonna go in order of how these happened. So back, I don't even know when, like 7 years old, I had a back scratcher. This is the back scratcher. I was holding it, scratching my back like usual. Let's just say that this is my mom. She was on the phone talking. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to go sit on the bed and try and talk to her, even though she's on the phone. Even though my brain wasn't like, she told me not to talk when grown-ups are on the phone. And I'm like, okay, but I was still barely knowing that. And so I sat on the bed, I opened my mouth to talk, and the back scratcher hit the bed at the exact angle where the spring was, and it bounced in a blink of an eye into my mouth, and I started choking. I'm being serious. This happened. And in the quick, 5 seconds I had to think before I died, I was like, I'm just gonna, if I angle it too high up, it's gonna just sink down more. Because that's what my brain thought as a 7-year-old. I'm gonna angle it straight that way, not up, that way, which is kind of like, no. So a little bit northeast. And so I angled it that way, and I just literally had 7-year-old strength, and I pulled it out of my mouth. I was crying. And you would see why. I almost died. If that thing would have stayed in there for a minute or 30 more seconds, I wouldn't be here making this video. Thank God for Jesus. Okay, so now another one of these stories. I was here at school. My friend was on the... No, this is Monkey's friend. Oh, this is Giraffe's friend. He was on the floor just reading this stuff, doing whatever. There was a brick case here. And I'm like, if I would try and, So, hang on. I was trying to get over here or something like that. Get over to the librarian. And I'm like, well, if I try and step over, I'm going to fall and hit my face on the cupboard, which would really, really hurt. So instead, I'm like, I'm just going to jump over him. And now today I realized there is a back way to the curb. And yet I thought if I was going to go over there, I would trip as well. But now I realize I wouldn't have. So I tried to jump over my friend. It worked. But for some reason, my brain went way too fast and thought I was already on the floor when I was still falling. And so I put my hand behind my back to push myself off the ground, and then that's the moment I slammed my spine onto my hand, and it sprained it. I started crying, like usual, because that hurts. I don't know if you've ever sprained your... I didn't sprain my spine, I sprained my wrist. I was crying, and then a teacher came in from another door and was like, quit crying. I'm like, you don't know what just happened. I could be upset. Now, if I'm upset, I see what you said that. I could be having a mental injury, which I was. And that really hurt. And so, yeah. That's how that happened. And now, I don't know why my brain thought like that. And this one was just recently. This one isn't a deadly situation, but still, this made me angry. Now, 2 days ago, I got into very extreme stuff. Now, if you might know me, which you probably don't unless you play with me on Fortnite, I have ADHD. Now, if you don't, dang it. Hang on. Dang it. If you don't know what ADHD is, ADHD is something that you're born with, where you are more hyperactive, you have way too much energy, and basically you have a very hard time doing stuff and focusing. But two of those things are good, that you're very energetic and a lot of energy. But there's also another thing. I forgot what the other thing is. If you have ADHD, you have a hard time focusing, you have way too much energy, and you get angered very easily. You get stressed out very easily. So that's been happening to me now, especially since this year I'm gonna be a teenager. I don't think I'm ready. But a few days ago, I can get angry, and if I get angry, I'm like, okay, so be it. I'm just gonna let it go. But if in that moment when I'm letting it go, other stuff comes in and piles on it, it's gonna raise my limit bar. Now, if you have ADHD, you're gonna have a limit bar to where if that anger gets over your limit bar, it's like you're in a locked room, or it's like you're in a room locked and you can't go back, and it's just gonna break. I haven't had that happen since I'm like 10, 12. And even then, at that moment, I would say like last year, yeah, and it wasn't even as bad as this one was. So, I was sitting, and I'm like, this girl's really annoying me. She's very disrespectful to the teacher. She is. She hates everything. And she's like, how is this kid doing that? It's called paying attention, woman. I'm like, she's over here like, how is he doing that? It's his first day here. Because he paid attention, and plus he might be Asian. I don't know. Look, Asian people are super smart. I have new glasses. Cool. So yeah, So I was sitting here, and I'm like, the teacher's like, oh yeah, you can move wherever the seat you want. This teacher, I can understand him, but he has a very hard time speaking English. He's like, oh, you can go sit over there or something like that. He has a very weird accent. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just like trying to listen. I'm like, I can't understand what he's saying sometimes. But then this happened. I'm over here. My mom wanted to pick me up before this class so I didn't have to deal with the girl, this is the person. I didn't even have to deal with her. But yet, at the same time, I thought it was 6th period, and I thought I had 8 periods when I had 7. So I was in 5th period, not 6th period. And she's like, well, when does 6th period start? 12:32. So she was going to pick me up at 12:32, but that's when my period ended. So that was also some very stressful stuff. So then my counselor wasn't here, so I couldn't talk to them. But there were 2 more counselors. Thank God. I needed that. So I'm over here, like, I need to move away from her. And I'm like, oh, my friend sits at this table. There's, like, one table here in the middle, one over here, here, and then here, and here. I went to this one, because that's where my friend was. Little did I know, this annoying brat was there. This man is so small, and he just makes everyone upset. For one, I'm just going to say this. If any kids are watching, I did swear, but I'm not swearing in this video because I am a family-friendly channel. But just know, whenever my limit bar breaks, I will swear, and I will literally, if I have anything in my hand, I will use it as a weapon. And now, if you keep on making me angry after you break my limit, yeah, someone might get hurt. But if you stop in the moment that it happens, nothing's gonna happen. So I'm over here sitting here, and I didn't realize that small, stupid kid was there. He's over here like, yo, get your work done, get your work done. Well, he's over here playing on his computer, and he's like saying that while we're working on our roller coaster and doing other stuff, because we're making a roller coaster for a marble race out of cardboard. I'm like, that's really cool. I wanted to do this. And I'm over here like trying to help. I'm like, we have this little tunnel thingy. Like, you know when a marble race, the marbles will come down, go in a spiral, and then through a hole, and just start the thing? We had that. And he's like, we needed to aim towards the middle. And I'm like, we need an item to prop up the thing so we can tape it to that. We need to tape this to the side, to the wall of the roller coaster, and then tape the funnel onto the thing. But I'm like, I could just put tape on the back of it since I had it propped up on the wall. So I just taped it. And then over here, this tape was expensive. Now look, I'm not worried about other people messing with other people. But if you hear the same thing over and over again, it's kind of annoying. So I'm over here like, I'm not worried about them messing with the teacher or whatever, saying he's being disrespectful. Nah, that used to bother me because I was a child raised, if you disrespect someone, you are getting very much trouble. So I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like when people disrespect other people. No, it's not my job. I'm knowing that now. I realize that now. So I'm not messing with any other people. I don't know why I'm sitting here talking about this for 8 minutes. Just get on with the video. So I'm over here. I moved to this table. Of course, I use this guy as the other kid. Get your work done. Yeah. He's over here watching videos, doing stuff on his computer. We're over here doing work. And then he grabs the tape, which is very expensive. And now, if you start being rude with words to the teacher, so be it. But if you start messing with his money, okay, that's gonna make me a little bit upset, but not like too much. Like, but still, he paid like what? Like $10 for the piece of tape. Now y'all younger and shouldn't think very much of that, because like, one, you're not yet knowing about when you're older, you're gonna have a lot, your money's gonna count. So 10 things per tape, and there was like $50 for that. This man grabbed like this long piece of tape from this hand to this hand over here, and then he just wrapped it around that thing I taped to the side of the thing. I'm like, bro, are you serious? So I had to undo that. I got angry at him. My friend was also kind of angry at him. I'm just saying, they were not appropriate, so I'm not caring about them. But then at that moment, I'm like, I'm just going to leave the group. I mean, I'm just leaving my group, and I'm going to get up and just calm myself down. And he's like, well, leave then. I'm like, okay. Oh, Mr. Reese Shorts just uploaded a video. Cool. And I'm over here just like, stop. And then I hear this stupid girl comes over here. He's like, yo, get your boyfriend. I'm like, yeah, gay stuff. And I'm like, I don't do that stuff. That is so stupid. I hate that. And then I heard that once, so I'm like, fine, I'm just going to leave it alone. But I heard it 5 times, and I was at the point where I'm like, yo, can you please stop for my purposes, because it annoys me? And then that gets to the point where that broke, and then I just grabbed my lunchbox. Say this is my lunchbox. This thing had a ice pack in it. Now, if you don't know what an ice pack is, you're thinking, oh, just like a plastic bag with ice in it. No big deal. Now, this thing is like built in. It has 2 circles in it. It's like this wide on this thing. It's like a picture frame. This thing feels like, it's like, what? That scared me just now. This thing feels like, what? It's like a metal, it's made of plastic, but it hurts. So I grabbed it, and in the moment when my limit break, I just walked up and I went in his head. And I didn't look at him because I was angry and started swearing a lot. And at that point, but what I did see is him just with his head like this. Like he's asleep. And I'm like, I hope I didn't break his brain. But I'm like, that's why you don't make me angry. And so I walked around, I was swearing, I was angry because my limit was way over broken. I'm not saying the swear words in this video, but you do know I swear, but not unless I get super angry. You make me angry, I'm going to be angry. My friend even said, you won't like me when I'm angry. Like, that kind of thing. Like, you don't want to make me angry. And I'm like, so what? And then I started swearing around the room. I ran out the room. Came back in to get a pass. I walked back out the room. Pretty much 80% of the kids, maybe, I wouldn't say 80% because some of the kids didn't swear at me. But I would say at least 4, 5, 6, or 7 of them swore at me whenever I left the second time. And that note, I didn't read it, but it said to go to the office. And I'm like, I need to talk to a counselor. So I went to the counselor. Meanwhile, my mom is looking for me, trying to find out where I am. And people are literally scouting the entire building, looking for me. They called him that teacher I was in. He's like, oh, he went to another classroom. I'm like, that's not right. I was in the counselor's room having a talk with the counselors. And then they finally found that out. And I'm like, bruh. And they also didn't have my 504. And I'm like, you said you had it. What is up? Such stupid people. When a parent asks for help at a school building, you want to make that your priority. I get it if you're on the phone, you can hold, say, hang on, I have to do something, or what you're typing, you're like, okay, I could just make a new tab. Yeah, and then apparently, I'm over here, well, might as well get this handled. So I decided, from now on, with the 2 counselors, I was gonna go get some work and do it on their room. I was gonna do the work on my Chromebook, and then I was gonna do it in their room. I had to go back to my teacher, and in that room, everyone just looked at me and laughed at me twice. And then I came in the 3rd time. They looked at me, but they were like, we're just going to leave him alone. Because I think the teacher got on to them about that. But, oh well, that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I slammed that dude so hard I didn't even see if he was dead or not. He's not dead. But that's kind of the story of how I almost died, sprained my wrist, and got really, really angry at someone. Yeah. if you're on computer, is there a discussion tab? Because I've been typing stuff in the discussion tab. If people watch on iPad or phone, there's not a discussion tab. But I went on my computer and started typing that, and so I'm like, oh, okay. So So basically, the reason I have 40 subscribers is because one of them is me, and one of them is my mom. Now, hey, I'm not ashamed that I subscribed to myself. I'm like, I didn't know I could do that, and I'm like, oh, might as well do it. So I'm like, yeah. I only have one account to subscribe to anyways. So I was trying to talk and like saying, I made a story in 4th grade. This is not gonna take long. But it was about cookies and if cookies were turned into weapons, like a sword. I'm like, pretty cool idea. We had 10 minutes each day. This thing was like 38 pages long. And the entire class laughed very, very much. I remember the beginning of the story. I went to a docs like a day ago, and I started typing it in a thing, the beginning, and I'm like, I don't remember all of this, but I'm gonna make it, instead of to where it is a book, I'm gonna make it as a video game thing. Now that as I'm reading this, I'm like, yo, this would be cool as a video game, but I'm like, I'm too young to have video game ideas, but I made it as a video game perspective, and I'm like, that's cool. I remember it started off, no spoilers, but I'm just saying, it went to like, okay, obviously spoilers for areas, but not anything else. It went from like a cookie kingdom to a weird ice area, and then the third one is super short. If I record a video of me reading that, the first one is gonna be like, I'm gonna read the first chapter, and when it says chapter 2, I'm gonna stop, and whenever the next video whenever I'm gonna start recording another video of me reading it, I'll just read both the chapters because chapter 3 is very short. It has some kind of Zelda-ish styles. When I say that, I mean like I made a little reference to Zelda. In the video game, don't make that reference, but I made it to where like 2 minutes of suspense later, like when Link opens the chest, like 2 minutes of suspense later. Alright, and y'all have a good day. My channel is KMHGGG, or Kimley, whatever you want to call me. KMGGs, whatever. Bye. Have a nice day. I'm gonna go to sleep.